Does he make you a hero? Does he make you a hero? Beat me.
The point.
What you want to do? Slap me. Slap me. Slap me. No, you get it. Okay, go slap me. Beat me now. Does he make you a hero?
Bro, I've been talking to them for like the last 30 minutes.
This is my face. I shouldn't get this my face. Slap me. No. Slap me. Slap me. Slap me. See where I'm hiding myself. You make see where I'm hiding myself. You see? See where I'm hiding myself. You see it? Bro, I'm only asking you see it? Are you doing his collaborator funding his money? Will you beg for that money to go and shoot a video?
Don't go outside. Don't go outside. Don't go outside. Don't go outside. Don't carry a gun outside like that. Bro, just go. Just go. Just go. Come on. So you're by yourself then?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I need to speak to him first to know what's going on because we was at the airport this morning. We got boarding passes. I don't have no information. What the issue?
No, we have to do. There's a video issue. There's a recording issue with people.
That's why I said I don't have no information.
Yeah.
Everything has to be. I need to see him there to say what's going on.
Yeah. All right, that's not a good start. Okay.
To the point where he's not picking phone.
Yeah.
It's not. You're just not the only one who's calling. I've called countless times without picking phone. Nothing. Sent messages. So I'm very much angry.
Hello. Yeah.
Where you at?
I'm here with PJ. He's the brain behind the J. Martin's concert and everything. He brings artists to Michigan and other states in the United States. So, welcome, PJ.
Thank you.
Okay, so PJ, I have an understanding that there has been a lot going on with the whole J. Martin's concert, and he ended up not presenting like everybody thought he was gonna do. And there is one thing that caught my attention. I saw this posting on Instagram that you did. So I just want you to talk to us a little bit about that. But first, I want you to talk to us about everything you did to bring Jim Martins and his manager out here.
Well, I've been doing a lot of shows. I've worked with a lot of artists, both Americans and Africans. I've done shows with Flavor, with Davido, Wizkid. I've done Mianya, I've done Two-Face, I've done Ice Prince in Texas. I do shows not only in Michigan, I do shows in other cities. So when a show makes sense to me, and I have promoters that come to me for investment, if it makes sense to me, I usually invest in it. With this situation, we were going to actually do the show, two cities. We're going to do it in Columbus and Michigan. And by the way, I have Davido coming in August to Columbus, but it made a lot of business sense. I felt that J. Martins had outreach to a lot of the Francophonian Africans. I felt that he had a lot of connections with people from Congo, the DRC, Guinea, Ivory Coast.
Hold on. I didn't hear about Cameroon.
Well, and Cameroon too. The thing about Cameroon is Cameroon is divided. Cameroon kind of have, the English and the French speaking part of it. But I felt that he had a lot of connections with them. So, and last year, I do this annually around July. That's when I do these shows. Last year, I realized that a lot. I did the show on July 3rd. And Ramadan was still around that time, and the Muslims kind of gave me a really bad feedback. They were like, how could you bring in Yanya when you know that we are still fasting? So I waited for the fasting to be over this year to bring J. Martin. So it was actually a good show. As soon as I put out the ticket, I actually put out the ticket. I didn't sell a lot of tickets till the 27th of June. On that 27th, I sold like maybe 40 tickets in one day. Pre-sale tickets. These are most of them were from the Islamic community, because Ramadan had ended a day before.
So what you're saying is you sold a lot of tickets on the 27th of June.
On the 27th of June, yeah, that was the day after the Ramadan. A lot of the Muslims, a lot of my Muslim followers, went online and bought tickets because they were expecting this show. It was actually supposed to be a good show. And you know, it was good. At the end of the day, I put up 100 pre-sale tickets. I sold 97 of them, 97%. This is actually the highest. You know, when I did Flavor, I sold 84 tickets pre-sale. And as a promoter, if you sell more than 50 tickets pre-sale, you're gonna have a good show, because majority of people like to buy their show the tickets on the day of, because they want to see the artist, they want to make sure he's here. So, but this one, people were buying. Then on July 4th also, actually on July 4th it closed, the pre-sale closed, and I reopened it again. I sold 8 tickets, and I went to the African picnic, and I sold a lot of tickets. You know, it was just supposed to be a good show. We picked up Jay Martins around 10 o'clock that day, 10:30. And normally, when artists come into town, I don't go pick him up. I'm not the one that goes to the airport to pick him up. When Flavor was here, I didn't go to pick him up. I sent my team to go pick him up. And it's just because there's an expectation theory. I've worked in a situation where they want you to go out and eat with them, you know, go out and smoke with them, and it becomes a problem because I have a show to organize and I have things to go out. You have to deal with the back line stuff, the instruments, the band, you know, the promotions, the tickets, the drinks. So not only are you like cheating yourself, because you could be at the hall helping decorate, looking through some things, doing the sound check, working with the other artists, but also you are wasting your time with them, because then they don't get to respect you. And a lot of times these artists that come from Africa especially, they come here, they start acting like they're humble, they start acting like they like you, only for you to just do everything for them, take them out to eat, pay for their stuff. They don't want to spend any money. When they're gone, they don't pick up your phone. So I've realized that they act like they're your friends. I mean, there's that celebrity factor. So, it's not even some of them, this is like most of them. I'm talking about, if I have to talk about my experience, I would say 80 to 90% of them. That's it, like statistics.
Okay, is this something you want to give like some names?
Not to drop. Okay, so no, I'm not gonna drop them because some of them ended up being my friends, right? You know, but every one of them that I've worked with has had that. So a lot of them come here, they you know, they act like they're humble, but they're not. You know, it's something that I've learned. But what I've done in essence, and a lot of promoters that I've spoken to, that I have association with, we have this thing where I'm a businessman, and I want to make sure that my customers, who are the people that pay for tickets, get the good satisfaction. That's why I stopped doing, you know, playback shows. I want to do live band. And the reason why is, if you're a musician and you want to showcase your talent, then do it live. Anybody could be a musician. I could make you a musician tomorrow. I could take you to the studio right now, have a nice beat, put your voice over there, put it on auto-tune, and make you sound good. But it doesn't make you a musician. What makes you a musician is being on stage.
I'm just curious. So, let me just ask: was Jay Martins gonna do his song live, or he was just gonna play with some beat out there?
Well, we marketed the event as a live band show, because I own a live band and I own a live studio. So what was supposed to happen was Jay Martins was supposed to come in here at 10:30, and by 11:30 we were supposed to go to my studio and do a live rehearsal. When he got there at the airport, he came by himself. We're looking for him, and he had come by himself. And I asked him. I said, you know, I asked him first. I went in there and I tried to shake his hand. I'm like, hey, how you doing? You know, and he tells me, oh, you know, he says to me, don't you see I'm on the phone? And I'm like, okay, no problem. So I gave him some time to finish his telephone conversation. And then I went back, because I didn't know he was on the phone. He had the beat on his ear, so I didn't know if he was on the phone or not. He was just listening to music. So I gave him some time. He finished his conversation. Went back again. I said, you know, I introduced myself. I said, I'm Wapreg. You know, I'm the guy that brought you here. And normally most artists would be like, you know, thank you for bringing us here. We've never been to Detroit. He's like, okay. He just kind of brushed it out. I said, okay, you know, where's your manager? He says to me, what manager? I said, your manager, you know, the guy that I've been working with. He says, well, you know, he says to me, he said, I was at the airport in Atlanta. We're going through the security check, and I turned around, and I didn't see him anymore. And I said, what? You didn't see him anymore? What happened? Where did he go? He said, I don't know. He said, I've been calling his phone. He said, I even went inside the plane, and they asked me if I had someone coming in, and I didn't see him. I said, that's really weird, So I went to the airline, and I told the airline, asked for the manager. I said, can you guys look up the name of the manager? And I said, can you look him up if he's okay? They looked him up. He said, yeah, he missed his flight, but he rescheduled. I said, okay, so he's alive. He said, yeah. I said, okay, good. When is he coming in? They said he wouldn't leave till 6 p.m. I said, okay, wow, because I paid them all inclusive.
Right. What you're saying is they told you he wasn't gonna leave till 6 p.m. So his flight was gonna leave what state?
Atlanta.
Okay.
Georgia.
Okay, Georgia at 6 p.m. So how was he gonna get here on time to to take care of everything before the show?
Yeah, and that's the thing, because the Jay Martins is scheduled to be, our contract says he has to be in there at 10 o'clock, right? But our contract also said that he had to do sound check before that time. But his performance, he had to be in the hall by 10 o'clock. Now, I understand this was on a Tuesday, people had to go to work the next day. So we had an expectation for him to actually be there at 10. Now, there was also a different situation where he had paid someone had paid him money to do collaboration, and flew a director from Atlanta that morning. Actually, the day before, they lodged. They were waiting for Jay Martins to come in the same day. He was going to do the video shoot. It was going to take like an hour. So I asked him, I said, do you know about the collaboration? He said, what collaboration? I said, you don't have any idea about this? And he said, no. He said, I've never heard any song. I've never done anything. I said, your manager told us that you listened to the song that you recorded, you didn't like it, and you were going to re-record. He said, no, I haven't done anything. So at this time, I'm like, okay, do you have your hotel information? He said, no. I said, okay. So what I did was I said, I went up and I got him a hotel. I got him to a Sheraton in Novi. I paid for the hotel. And, on our way to the hotel, he says, actually, when we got to the hotel, he called me. He says, oh, can you ask the artist that you was supposed to do collaboration with me to come and meet me? I said, I thought you said you didn't know about any collaboration. He said, yeah, but if he wants to do it, let him come and meet me. Okay. So I called Keith Flex, who's the artist, and I said, Keith Flex, come up to the hotel. Keith Flex comes up to the hotel. We had a meeting, and he says to Keith Flex, if you want to do any collaboration with me, I need you to pay me. And Keith Flex said, well, I already gave you guys a deposit. And he said, well, yeah, but I still need to get, he said, forget about the deposit that you gave him. What will happen is you call my management and tell them that the collaboration didn't happen. But then I'm going to go back and do it with you again.
Okay, so I just want you to tell us, you tell everybody that's watching, because I believe the whole world is watching. So, who did the artist Keith Flex give money to, and how much was it for the collaboration, be it partial payment or the whole or the full amount?
Well, I can't speak on how much it was, but I know that he paid the management. He paid the management money. He actually gave him $1,300 for the deposit for the show, and that included the studio time. So he had told me about that, and I even called him when Jay Martins were there to confirm. And when he came there, Jay Martins now started saying, "Oh well, if you want to do this with me, you have to pay me." So I said, "Well, this guy is in nursing school. He's a student, and he's really trying to get himself together right now. Where do you think he's going to be coming with extra money from?" So he said, "Well, what?" He said, "Let's do this, because I still owe them a balance, and that balance was supposed to pay when he gets on stage." He said, why don't you take money from my balance and then refund the management, and then let Keith Flex pay. I looked at it, I'm like, I manage some artists, and I said, that's not right. Because what happens is, now you're trying to sidestep your management. You're trying to take money away from your management's pocket. Because every deal, every concert, every record that happens, your management gets a percentage. Most managements get like about 20%. So let's say, for example, You went and did a collaboration for $1,000. Your management gets $200. If you do a collaboration for $10,000, your management gets $2,000. It's just the way it works. Now, if you try to go behind them and do it because you want to keep the $2,000 by yourself, that's wrong. Because these guys are the ones that do all the paperwork. That's number one. Number two, he's not a U.S. citizen, so there are tax ramifications that have to go with things that are done here because he came here on a work permit. So he's actually doing work, but if you take something behind the scene and this guy files taxes and says that he paid you, it becomes a problem for the management. The third problem is copyright. The fact that you actually did a show, put your voice in over music, the label can call and say, look, we didn't authorize it, so now you owe us money. I mean, now you can't release the song. If you release the song, we sue you. So there's so many legal issues that I had to deal with it. The last reason is it's not right. It's just not right. If somebody does that to me, I would be upset because I worked hard, and now you want to go behind my back and cut the deal. So I told him all that stuff. I said, look, I'm not going to be in support of it. I'm going to just end the conversation here. He said, well, it's not like that. He goes, it's not like that. It's not like that. And they actually were going to the studio. Then the manager calls and says, look, told Keefless, if you give him money, you're going to lose your deposit. So at that time, I asked the manager, I'm like, what happened? Where were you? How come you didn't get on the plane? He says to me, well, Jay Martins kind of tricked him and snuck into the plane, and he was looking for him all around the airport and couldn't find him. So he didn't want to board the plane because he didn't want to fly without the artist himself. And he was calling his phone and he wouldn't get it. And I believed his story because I've traveled with artists in between February this year and April. We did about 18 shows, including Australia. And I know exactly that you shouldn't be traveling anywhere without your management. He's the one that has the credit card, the driver's license to book a hotel and to book a car rental.
Okay, so what you're saying is the whole story that Jay Martins put up about his manager staying back and not knowing his manager's whereabouts was just all a show. It wasn't true.
That was complete false. That was completely false. So at that time, I decided, okay, you know what's going to happen? I'm putting a lot of time into this. We have my band waiting for this guy. Remember, our show, the rehearsal was supposed to be at 11 a.m. I said, can you come and do the rehearsal? He says, well, I have to go and I have to go to the studio. So I realized at that time that he was trying to still make the money and not cut my show. Okay. I said, okay, I'm going to reschedule my rehearsals, and I'm going to put it for 7 p.m. So I called my band and I pleaded with the guys. They said, okay, because they had to go play soccer, and I rescheduled that stuff till 7 o'clock. Now, and I left. I went to the park to sell tickets. I sold a few tickets, created some awareness. I had some DJs on the field, talked to them about the show, and eventually, around 5 o'clock, I went back to the event venue and turned on the lights and everything, and my band started coming in, waiting for him at 7. 7 o'clock, we called Jim, and he didn't pick up. 8, we were still rehearsing, didn't pick up. 9. At 9 o'clock, he didn't pick up. I sent someone to his hotel. The guy was there, my cousin that came from Maryland. The guy was there, knocked on the door. He didn't pick up he didn't open up his door. Around 10 o'clock, he calls me and says, oh, bro, I laid back down and I fell asleep. And, I'm so sorry. No problem. Just come on. Now, mind you, the show was supposed to start at 9 p.m. The doors open at 9 p.m. We saw the show as doors being open at 9 p.m. So now we are actually an hour behind. And some of the white people that came from far actually were there at 9 p.m. So we told him, just get some drinks, relax. So Jay Martins got there around 10 for rehearsal and sound check. When he was there, I talked to, so then he was having problems with my band. He was having problems with my keyboardist, talking about keyboards, didn't know how to play. I'm like, this guy's been playing for a long time. The key that we played in, he was changing it. But the entire time we've been asking him for the right key, they didn't send it. So we played it on the original key that he would normally perform in, like the original studio version. And then he tried to change it. So that was like we had to rewrite all the songs back down. It was just a whole mess. And we did all this things in 30 minutes. Within 10:30, 10:45, we're done. All right? At that time, his manager walks in. He was leaving. His manager walks in. They didn't say hi to each other. I didn't really care. It's not my business.
Wait. Hold on. So you mean they didn't even like talk, nothing?
They didn't recognize each other. So I'm still sitting trying to get the sound right. He walks back and says, "Oh," he says, I need someone to walk me to my car. Can you believe that this guy?" He said the guy shoved him in the hallway. His manager shoved him in the hallway. I said, "Okay, no problem." So I took my guy. I said, "Please take him to the car, and go and make sure he gets in the car." He walks in the car. I said, "Take him back to his hotel so he can get dressed and come back for the show." They get in the car, moved. Then 5 minutes later, he asked the guy to return the car back, to reverse and come back to the venue. So the guy reversed, came back to the venue. He came inside. And I'm like, "Why are you coming back inside? You're supposed to be going home to get dressed." He comes in, he says he wants the manager to tell him everything he's been saying in his face. I said, "Bro, you know this is not the right time for this. Go ahead and get dressed for the show." He starts going crazy with the manager, and they started pushing each other, and then they got into a fight. And at that time, this manager's a big guy. He could have beat him. But I had guys on him just kind of trying to get this stuff. But it was just going back and forth, the bickering back and forth, talking back and forth. Till 11:45, I called his management team back home, and I said, "Look, if this show doesn't start by midnight, I am going to shut it down."
PJ, just one thing. I'm just curious, like, what were they saying? The words they were exchanging, what were they saying? What was it all about?
Well, it was mostly because of the collaboration, right? They've had a heated argument that's been going on between them. So the management realized this guy was trying to swindle them out of money. So they started saying, he started telling me, "You got to tell me right now if you're going to do," because he was telling Key Flash to say that he doesn't want to do the video anymore, so that he can go behind the back and do the collaboration with them and take the money. The manager's like, "You got to tell me right now if you want to get this thing done or not. You got to tell me right now." So he was trying to walk away, and he was being restrained. And he started calling your mom, your father, your mother, "You're a bitch." Okay, man, it was crazy. Now, the thing was, this guy opened the door, because this was all happening backstage. He opens the door, goes outside, and was screaming outside. People were driving in, looking at him. Some people were putting him on Facebook Live. I saw it on Snapchat, where he was going crazy. And it was just not good for me anymore. So I kept begging, like, "Dude, you should have gotten in your car this entire time. You should never have actually come back to get into this altercation. The whole thing wouldn't have happened if you just went to your hotel and relaxed and took a shower and come back." So it got so bad. As soon as I opened my phone, I look at my phone, I had 37 requests for cancel on Eventbrite. So I'm like, fuck, I'm done. Because now, if I have to refund 37 tickets, that's almost half the tickets I sold already. And that's bad. So I decided, I'm not gonna, let me see what I can do. So at that time I told him, I said, "Look, I have a lot of requests to cancel."
So, PJ, what you're saying is a lot of people were asking to cancel the show. People that had already bought their tickets, people that came from out of states, like out of Michigan and all that. So how did that make you feel?
Well, at that time I was already getting upset. At that time I was already, it wasn't even the money, I'm not rich, I don't have money, but it was more so the image. I have never had to cancel a show in my life. I've been doing a lot of shows. I've done shows that were very, very good. I've done shows that were very, very bad. Every promoter understands you're going to have bad days. You're going to have days that nobody wants to even come in your show. You can put up a lot of money and you lose it. The thing about doing this business is you have to have the heart to make people have fun at your own expense. Because when you put down $10,000, $15,000 for a show and you realize that you could lose all that money and not make any money, you're dependent on people to buy your tickets. And if they don't want to mess with you, if you do the wrong calculation, it's all on you. So you have to have the heart to do it. It's not for the money, right? You want to make sure that's fun. Before I came into Detroit to do these things, people in Detroit used to go out to other different cities to go see an artist. People kept getting upset. I have parents that come to me and say, you know, Praj, thank you for, you know, our kids are more interested in Nigerian stuff now because they see these artists coming. They follow them. They follow them on Instagram. So they see the culture and they want to be part of it. And they tell me, thank you. So that's a good satisfaction because I'm bringing culture. I'm bringing culture in its pure form from Africa back here so people can experience it. So a lot of times it's not about the money. It's about just having the heart to engage and get these things work out. So that's part of the reason why you have to sit down with an artist and explain to them, here's the demographics of people that are going to come, here's what we expect from you, and here's what we want you to do. So it made me upset because now I was going to take an extraordinary step to actually cancel a show. I've never had to cancel a show before. And then at that time I'm thinking, what are people going to think? Because if people don't trust you to come through with the shows that you have said that you're going to do, how are they going to buy your tickets the next time? So it's an image problem. And then, of course, the money. I have kids. I'm not going to go back and tell my kids, like, look, you know, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. You know, hey, daddy lost $7,000 just because he was trying to make everybody happy. At the end of the day, you still have to pay your bills. So it was an emotional situation for me that I had to think over. But at the end of the day, the image part of it won because I realized that if I continue to allow this to go, I am going to even lose more money. I was already bleeding. So he left, finally left. After I told him that I'm going to be canceling the show, he left, finally left, and he went to his hotel. It took him like maybe 30 minutes. He didn't even take that long. Comes back. This dude was still wearing the same clothes he had on from morning that people have already seen him in. And then he put some towel behind his pocket. How are people going to invest in you if you don't have the image?
Okay, you mean like the image wasn't presenting at all?
He didn't care.
Oh.
If you look at all his videos and all the places he's been in America, he's been wearing the same shirt. He wasn't trying to make sure that he looks good so that people can actually, you know, enjoy the show. So that was a problem for me. So when he comes back at a time, then when he came back, he went back and started arguing again. So at that time, that was just a sign for me to say, you know what, this guy is not emotionally balanced. Mm-hmm. He's not mentally balanced. He's not there. And I say, look, I'm going to have to pull the show. So I think I had like $600 or $700 in my pocket. I just went back to this table. I said, anybody that comes in here, I want their money. Just pay them off. Let them go home. I said, I'm not going to continue this show. So at that time, he was been screaming and screaming, going back and forth. And then finally I told him, I said, bro, you're not going to get on stage. Because they were already bringing the mic, and I had them turn off the mic. So you're not getting on stage. At that time, he calmed down. It's like someone poured water on him. And he decided that he was going to, he started appealing to me like, hey, you know, please don't do this. You know, I have kids, I have family. I have a son, and I know you have a son too, and I know you care about him. This is money. I said, well, you knew it was money the entire time. Why didn't you treat it like business? You should have treated it like business at that time. So it was just a situation where I had to cut it out at the time. It was a decision that I had to make for the image set. Yeah, because in the entire day he hasn't spent any money. I mean, this guy's come to it. You can understand. You pay for their flight, pay for them to eat, pay for them to sleep. You understand? Sometimes I've had to take someone. There was a time I took Michael Blackson to the mall and I bought him a T-shirt because it was a white tees. It was like a $12 T-shirt because he wanted to wear a brand new T-shirt, but I paid for it because I'm right there. These guys have more money than I do, but at the end of the day, you have to make sure that they're in a great mood so they can give you the best product out, that the best services. And so I already had talked to them. I already was trying to make sure that he was in a good mood. It was business. But he didn't listen to me when I kept saying, look, you need to calm down. You need to go back home. If he had just not gone into that car, left the car and come back in, he would have done well. The problem was he wanted to prove something. Okay. And you are proving something at someone else's expense, and that was not right. So that was why I made that decision. It was an executive decision that I made to make sure that this never happened again.